I'm going to leave that on full, so y'all don't need to see me during the presentation, but this is our kind of our title screen, and I hope that you'll enjoy a particular slide in the middle of the presentation that talks about things to keep in mind when thinking about your home's outdoor lighting plan. That's really what this is all about. We've got literally uh, growing hundreds of thousands of people out there, and if we all could just control our outdoor lighting, we'd have a night sky to remember. This is what we're talking about as far as the hill country. You can see some of the recent shots of light, and I want to bring to your attention especially the arc at the bottom left hand of this bottom right hand of this slide. 10 years ago, that was not there. That's flaring in the Eagleford Shale from space. But none of that was there until about 2009. These are the main elements of light pollution that the Hill Country Alliance has identified for all of us to think about controlling. And I think the pictures are pretty self-explanatory. I like to call the light trespass sign the bad neighbor lighting plan. Uh, we've all had these things light up our yard from our neighbors with unshielded lighting, and that's a good example. The others are pretty clear. The words tell the story, and the pictures do so as well. But these are the four areas that we try to work with in preventing. Why does it all matter? Well, I think all of us have been where this little kid was one time, seeing the incredible night sky that was without pollution, without light pollution. It's just really part of our hill country heritage and our culture, and the wonder of the sky for young people, as well as those of us who are the young at heart. Why does it matter for wildlife, insects, the animals that join us in this beautiful wilderness that we have out here? It truly does have some impacts on them, and this next slide talks a little bit about that. I won't read it, but I just draw your attention to the red highlighted wording, and give you a moment to read that. You can imagine if our places were switched, how we would feel like as birds or as animals, uh, having our sleep interrupted, reproduction cycles interrupted, protection from predators, all of that. We need to be aware of how all of this affects them as well. What does it matter to human health? These are two pretty difficult to see slides. I'm sorry that the wording is not larger, just didn't have room enough, but two words on there that all of you are familiar with are circadian and melatonin. And these are a couple of graphs or displays that talk a little bit about issues of sleep disorders, metabolism, and in fact, cancer. I like this slide because I think this is a pretty good academic snapshot of the three key aspects of light pollution and of the key impacts. And I basically just Googled light pollution. This is one of the images came up. I'm sorry that I couldn't locate a source for this, but if y'all want to take a screenshot with your phone, it might be worth saving. This is not a slide that's on the Hill Country Alliance presentation, from which all the other slides have come for me. I just wanted to find something that kind of depicted the key elements of poor light pollution and its impact on us, socioeconomic, ecological, and physiological. That pretty much runs the gamut of our well-being. And why does light pollution matter? Of course, probably the most important factor is just waste. Wasted electricity. In the case of night skies disappearing from a place like this or out beyond where we are, a tourism opportunity. Astrotourism is a growing element of the night of travel. Many of you who also are birders will remember before the time that birding tourism became a draw for this part of the hill country. And frankly, the night sky and tourism, astrotourism, is another one of those elements that people are trying to escape the light in their cities and getting out to enjoy what we still have for the most part. Well, what's good lighting? This is really a pretty simple item, I think. Number one, not leaving your lights on all the time and using your light switches or motion sensors on either your light bulbs or your light fixtures. I was in Home Depot a couple of weeks ago and just thought I'd check out motion sensitive light bulbs. And in fact, they do have those. And you basically just turn them in the on position all night and they stay dark until there's motion. So the people that are worried about security and protection, you don't need to worry about lighting something up until something moves. And that's the element of using light sensors or motion sensors instead of leaving your lights on all the time. I like this slide because as I look at the progressive warmth to cool from left to right, I sure do like that left-hand side. It's just much easier on my eyes. And this is really one of those benchmark changes that all of the night sky groups are trying to promote. And that's to use outdoor lighting that is 3,000 Kelvin or below. If you go to an outdoor store or a home lighting place like Home Depot and ask for night sky compliant or night sky friendly light bulbs, LEDs, you can ask for those with 3,000 K or below. Once you've seen good lighting, every time you see bad lighting, you just kind of shake your head and wonder, what are those people thinking? And all of us have seen examples of each of these. This is where we can each do a better job simply by shielding the lighting on our house, whether it's our front porch, our garage, our patio, our breezeway. Shielded light where it's only pointed down and there's no light above the horizontal under, for instance, like the one where it says better. And these are actual pictures. This particular slide comes off the International Dark Sky Association website. You can see where the bulbs or the light sources protrude from the shields on the fixtures, and in the right-hand side, you can see those that are properly shielded with the bulbs recessed inside and not visible from the side. This is the title, the presentation title slide, and again, this is a slide from the IDA, indicating in the upper right-hand corner. And also another organization that's an interesting one that I wasn't familiar with, and that's the Illuminating Engineering Society. There is an organization out there, an engineering organization that works to make sure we do have the right lighting on industries and businesses and commercial facilities. These are the 5 principles of responsible outdoor lighting. And again, I'll let you take a minute to look those over. Take a screenshot of it. It's again, it's on the IDA website. Clear purpose, only where needed, no brighter than necessary, only when it's useful, and warmer colors. Just that kind of succinctly says what that slide is meant to promote.
And what is the IDA?
International Dark Sky Association.
Ah,
And
okay,
those,
thank
I'll
you.
have those, websites on the very last slide. But good question. What's good lighting? We've talked about this, just some reminders. Switchers and sensors, nothing more than what's needed, warmer colors, and fully shielded. And you can see the neighbor unfriendly and the neighbor friendly lighting. That's a perfect example. How many of us have these fixtures on our front porch? There are literally hundreds of millions of these front porch fixtures in the country, and they've been that way for as long as we can remember. There's a real simple way to turn those into night sky compliant fixtures, and it's just a pretty simple purchase of one of those. I replaced both of my front porch fixtures. We have about a 50-foot long porch, and of course we have wall side fixtures on each side of our door, and I put those bulbs in. It made all the difference in the world. I can see my porch from the street, but I can't see the source of the light. It's really a pretty easy fix, pretty inexpensive. These are the organizations across the Hill Country that have organized. They're all volunteer organizations of local steering committees. We have about 15 or 20 folks that are here in Kendall County that are part of that steering committee for us. We started about a year ago, so we're still crawling and trying to walk, and some others are farther along than us, but that's all right. We'll make our way. We're promoting ourselves as the best little night sky town in Texas. We want to kind of keep it that way. These are some other organizations of major stature that are involved. Every one of those is recognizable to us. The Hill Country Alliance is kind of the umbrella organization under which the local dark sky or night sky groups have been organized. They are going through the process of selecting a new staff person to succeed Cliff Kaplan, who has managed this effort for the last few years, and that process is underway. And I suspect that before summer, there may be new staffing determined. They've been a wonderful support to us locally. October is Hill Country Night Sky Month. This last year, I think Amy will corroborate this. This last year was the first year we had a really well organized Hill Country wide Night Sky Month with events happening all over the Hill Country in small towns, and they included some of the bullet points on the right hand side. We'll work on that again this year. There is a website annually that the Hill Country Alliance puts up, and that's nightskymonth.org. You can, if you're going to one of the cities during October, you can just click on the website and see what's going to happen. Most of the events are on weekends, but some of them happen during the week as well. This summer, among the things we'll be doing here with the Kendall County Friends of the Night Sky is a star party in conjunction with the City of Boerne's annual summertime event. we met with them back, about 3 weeks ago when the Native Plant Month celebration was being planned, and the city has currently has planned their Star Party night on the night of a full moon, which of course is the very worst night of the month that you could select for stargazing. So one of our amateur astronomers in the Kendall County Friends of the Night Sky is working with them to guide them toward a first quarter moon night, so we can actually do some constellation tours and some projection of heavenly bodies out of the night sky onto a 30-foot screen that they'll have there. So it could be a lot of fun. You just need to watch the paper and the Parks and Rec calendar for that. There are 120 neighborhood associations across Kendall County alone. And this is where all of you could help in promoting night sky preservation and night sky friendly lighting awareness by connecting with your own neighborhood association board and inviting them to see our monthly night sky presentation. It's basically the Hill Country Alliance slide presentation. It's about 30 minutes. It's beyond what I'm doing tonight. And Lorraine has an invitation to this month's event. It's always held on the worst night for sky gazing each month, and that is full moon night. So you won't miss the stars if you watch the presentation. And when you get the link, send it on to your board of your neighborhood association and ask them to join in and see my presentation, and they can pass it on to their folks and get night sky friendly awareness in the neighborhood. As I mentioned, there is a recognition program. This is a night sky friendly neighborhood homeowner association policy in accordance with the Hill Country Alliance. Again, the yellow items that are highlighted are the key provisions. Again, take a screenshot of that or go on the Hill Country Alliance website for this exact wording. This points out the items that they're focusing on, and the last sentence gives the neighborhood association an opportunity to set a deadline for meeting the requirements to be certified as a night sky friendly neighborhood. Here are the key websites for this presentation tonight. The last one, of course, is our local group. The Hill Country Alliance is a much more substantial organization. They're very adequately staffed on a number of hill country conservation elements, both earth and sky. And then the International Dark Sky Association is obviously a worldwide organization that has a tremendous website that brings in elements of dark sky all over the world. Just want to say thanks for the opportunity. I hope you can get out sometime and get into the dark and enjoy the Milky Way this summer. My very first experience with that, my most memorable one, was almost 50 years ago now. I was in Boquillas Canyon in the Big Bend on the river on a canoe trip with my brothers. And it was a new moon night. There was no moon anywhere, nothing but the Milky Way to light the sky. And it was so dark we couldn't see our hands in front of our face. That's what I dream about, going back and doing that again sometime. Just want to say thanks. Questions?
Thank you, Ed. That was really great and informative.
You're very welcome.
Does anyone have questions? Well, if you think of any, you can always ask at the very end.
Yes, and I do want to, again, Lorraine has a copy of the Zoom meeting link for the full Hill Country Alliance presentation for the 26th. It'll be 6:30 to 7 on Monday night, the 26th of April.
Ed, it looks like there's a question here about how do we educate and influence developers to be night sky friendly?
Well, one of the things that we're doing, that's a very good question. Thanks for asking. Early on in a year ago, when we started the Kendall County Friends of the Night Sky, we were set to engage the developer at Cordillera Ranch, which is the largest development in the county with with night sky compliant lighting requirements in the development. And we were going to meet quarterly with the real estate and development group of the Chamber of Commerce to begin talking about that. And the chamber suspended those meetings because of COVID. So that is an effort that we're going to rekindle this year, this year, and engage the developer at Cordillera in promoting how well that works for them and how people who come to live there appreciate that that element of the development. So we have some that are very friendly to the concept, and others that basically just aren't very educated about it, and that's a key issue. But I do think having someone of such substantive experience, 25 years now that they've had those lighting ordinances in that development or requirements, is a real plus for us.
There's a question. I'd like to know when the Kendall County group meets.
We have a monthly, you can go on the website, kendallcountynightsky.org,
Okay.
and there is a Google form that you can sign on to just kind of join us as part of our ever-growing steering committee. And we will send out the invitation for our Zoom meetings. We meet on the first Thursday monthly from 6:30 to 7:30.
You mentioned that y'all are working with homeowner associations. Does your group actually contact them, or are you waiting for the associations to contact your group?
What we are doing, we're trying within, like I said, the group of about 15 people, what we're trying to do is to have that happen organically from within our
Okay.
organization. For instance, I live in Ranger Creek, and so I'm responsible for contacting the Ranger Creek board. I did that today by email to our management company in San Antonio. And what I would encourage each of you to do is once you have had a chance to see the full Hill Country Alliance presentation, which is much more in depth than my slides were today by some, I guess probably 3 times as many slides, to contact your own neighborhood association board and ask them to forward the invitation to our monthly Kendall County Friends of the Night Sky presentation on the full moon night from 6:30 to 7 to just spread the word and begin to get people talking about night sky friendly neighborhoods.
I have one question myself. What does the county have any regulations, rules for lighting, or is it just the city?
The county, as a subdivision of the state, has no regulatory authority of any kind with respect to zoning or ordinances or anything. Basically, they only have prerogatives under state laws. The one exception, and it's a big one in Kendall County, is the federal mandate for dark sky friendly protection for Camp Bullis. And I know that the judge and the commissioners are in our court on this. And if they had their way, they would get the state to allow them to mandate that the Camp Bullis federal ordinance be applied countywide. And that would resolve the issues regarding quote unquote ordinances in non-incorporated areas, basically areas outside any city limits. They are working, the judge and the commissioner's court are working with Kyle Biederman on a few things like that that include dark sky ordinances and things of that nature. But it goes far beyond that with respect to zoning, land use, all of that. It's a much bigger picture that the dark sky issue is a part of. In the city of Boerne has included dark sky provisions in their current ordinances regarding business development. If you'll notice, all of the new development that's gone in with things like car lots and retail areas, they all have night sky compliant lighting. The issue that we have, of course, is there's nothing you can do about glare off the hundreds and hundreds of cars that are in the parking lots. So they're doing what they're supposed to do. There's just not a whole lot we can do about reflected glare off shiny cars, except sell all the cars.
If you have seen the City Hall in Boerne at night,
Yes,
it's hard to see how they are working to protect night skies, because there's never been a more lit up City Hall in the world, I don't
I
think.
agree. I agree.
You talk
and-
about overlighting, that's a great example.
Yes, there's some severe architectural ego going on there. Yeah, the lighting on the front of the city hall, it couldn't be more obtrusive. And I think that when we do get a chance to go face to face with the council, that we will need to talk about that. We do have some pretty strong support there. I think if we proposed the use of different light bulbs, it might make the architects mad, but it would make everybody else pretty happy, I think.
Yes.
Good point. Right, I don't live in the city, so I don't have standing. Although they do listen to us. They've done proclamations for us for the Night Sky Group. If you live in the city, you elect those people and let them know. Let them know that that's an atrocity to be a night sky friendly town with a city hall that's lit up that can be seen for miles.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ed.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure. Okay, and next we have Amy. So Ed, I think you've stopped sharing. And Amy, you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay. So, I think you need to, it says to enable participant screen sharing. I think my screen sharing may have been disabled for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay, let me check it out.
Okay. But while you figure that out, I just have to tell everybody how much work the Kendall County Friends of the Night Sky has done over the past year. I've had the opportunity to help them a little bit and get started and sit on some of their meetings, and they're really doing an awesome job. So Ed gets a big round of applause for sure for leading that effort.
Great. Okay,
All
Amy,
right, I
give
can
it a
share.
try.
I got it.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Well, I wanted to start out by just showing you the IDA Texas website. Ed had mentioned the Dark Sky, International Dark Sky Association. And some states have their own chapter, not each state does, but Texas has their own chapter, and it's IDA Texas. So Hill Country Alliance is a wonderful resource, and they work closely with IDA Texas. So here's the IDA Texas website. And at the end of me saying all these things to you guys and introducing you to what's up at the night sky tonight, I'll paste a lot of these links for you in the chat, so you don't have to remember these. But you should check out the website. There's a lot of resources there. I just wanted to make it known to you. So there it is. And then it just so happens that this week is International Dark Sky Week, and that's an IDA, International Dark Sky Association program. Happens every year about this time. And I'm excited to share the night sky with you because it's International Dark Sky Week, and I got a big idea that we should do some citizen science and take some sky brightness readings for the Globe at Night Citizen Science campaign, which is happening this week too, and they usually plan it that way on purpose. So I'm trying to get everyone involved to take, we get at least 200 readings in Central Texas. So I'm hoping that we can do that. And I just put up the website for you to see. You can click on events that other people are doing. And this is international, by the way. So people all over the world are participating this week. So that's kind of exciting. But I'm going to tell you really quickly about Globe at Night, because I hope that you guys get inspired after I show you the night sky and you want to go out and you want to participate. And it's really fun. And it's a citizen science campaign, which is always, I think, pretty cool. But it's called Globe at Night. They've been around for, man, I'm going to say close to 15 years. And pretty much you go outside, you look at the constellation of the month, and you use their report page here, and you report the sky brightness. And I just want to show you really quick what that means. First of all, I'm clicking on observe, and I just want to show you this week here is highlighted in black because it's International Dark Sky Week, and it's also Globe at Night's monthly campaign. So Ed had mentioned the full moon. And one thing about stargazing is if you want to see more stars, you don't want to have a full moon actually, because the moon is really bright and it kind of washes out the night sky. So astronomers and stargazers love, you know, close to the crescent moon or a quarter moon, but a full moon is really bright. So all these dates are already curated for you for leaving out the bothersome full moon. And so this week, we don't have a full moon out or a bright moon after sunset. And the constellation of this month is Leo the Lion. So you get to learn a constellation. And I'm going to show you how to find it tonight. And you just report your findings on their web app, and it's really easy to use. You put your date and your time. If you want to save your night vision, you click red. And astronomers like red lights because once our eyes get adapted to the dark, if someone took a picture of you or a photo, like if you've ever been, I'm thinking about way back in high school a long time ago when we had party pics and the photographer would take a really bright photo of you and you were in this, you know, dance room and it was dark. And you're blind for a couple minutes. That happens. Your eyes get dark sky adapted at night when you go out. So you can click on the red version for that. Red allows you to keep your night vision and you can still see a little easier. You just click where you made your observations. So it could be in your front yard. You could get fancy and get in your car and drive out somewhere dark. It's really up to you. And then you just fill out some of this here about where your country is and our state. You can make comments about your location if you like. You don't have to. And then you come over here and you click on one of these maps and it just shows you the night sky. So if you look here, magnitude 0, you can tell there's not many stars there. So that means it's pretty light polluted. And I'm from Houston originally, so I'm saying the center of Houston. So sad. And then as we get out into the country, we're going to start to have a higher number magnitude, which means you see more stars. And we can start to make out a lot of stars. And so you kind of toggle back and forth and you say, okay, I can kind of see about that many stars after you find Leo, which I'm going to show you how to do in a second. And you click on that, you click on the sky conditions, and then you just go ahead and submit it. And there's a little space here for if you have a sky quality meter, which is a device that some people have, you don't have to have that, and you submit it. and it's pretty fun. And that was a fast overview, but I just wanted to introduce you to it. Their website is wonderful. You can go back and watch a video on how to do it and learn about it. But I'm trying to get 200 readings, because if we get 200 readings, we get to populate this map with more dots. All these little dots are readings from last year's Globe at Night campaign. So wouldn't it be cool to get a lot of readings and have lots of dots there in Central Texas? So that's what I'm hoping can happen. So I'm gonna close that. And it's fun. It's just fun to go outside at night. It just is. I want to show you guys how to find the constellations that are up right now at this time of year, and even tonight. I'm looking outside and oh, it's getting kind of cloudy, but not too bad. So for us, sun sets pretty soon. And this is Stellarium. This is a planetarium software that's free that I love to use to teach people about the night sky. So that's what I'm using. You can actually download it for free from the internet. Now, our sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. So we're looking south here. As you can see, my little pointer, this is one of the cardinal directions. This is south. I'm going to point us east. There's east.
I'm not,
That's where
I'm sorry, Amy, I'm still seeing your old, your previous screen.
Uh-oh. Okay, let me see what happened. So give me a
It's
second.
frozen.
Okay, I'm gonna stop share and I'll share again then. There we go. I had it on desktop. Thank you for telling me that. That would have been really boring. And you wouldn't have learned any constellations. Okay, here we are. So this is Stellarium. This is the planetarium software I was talking about. And I'm going to show you how to find Leo the Lion, the Globe at Night constellation, and some other constellations in our night sky.
I'm
So
sorry,
the sun
Amy,
rises in,
are you still
Yes.
on Globe at Night website?
I shouldn't be.
Okay,
Y'all
no,
still
I
see
was,
that?
no, I was just wondering what it is, what tool you're using. What are
Oh,
you showing?
so I'm now, yes, so I'm now using Stellarium, and this is a software that projects the night sky, kind of like a planetarium would use.
Okay,
You can find this online, it's free. And there's also Stellarium Web, and it's an online, you don't have to download it, it's just on a website. And I'll put these links all in the chat when I'm done.
thank
So you
you.
can see that, but y'all can see Stellarium, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So the sun rises in the east, and you can see the east here. And this line here, this line where the ground meets the sky, we call the horizon. So we're looking at the eastern horizon here. The sun rises in the east, but I just turned us to west. So it's just like we turned around the other direction. So here's west, and the sun's starting to set. So I'm going to need to move this 1 second. I'm going to fast forward time a little bit, and we're going to see the sunset even more. So there we go. Time is speeding up, and the sun is starting to set. And our stars and planets will start to pop out in a second. All right, here we go. So this will be tonight on a clear night. And if we look west, right, as the sun sets, and you guys look up, the planet Mars is out. That's going to be pretty bright. It's going to be red. So you can, it kind of looks like a red star. It's not too twinkly though, and that means it's a planet. There's Mars. And this right here is the Seven Sisters, or the Pleiades. It's also known as Subaru in Japanese. So just like the car Subaru, if you look at their logo, that's actually this constellation here. And if you're Japanese, you would see this as a dove. So I'd like to show you guys Leo the Lion. So we're gonna look straight up from here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on some constellation lines, and you could start to make out some constellations that you might recognize. But we're gonna move over to Leo. So we're gonna scoot over a little bit. and look south. Look straight up. Actually, I'm going to bring us back down because I realized it's in the east. So right as the sun sets, we're in the west. Now we're going to look east. So I've turned us around. And if you look straight up, we find Leo the lion. So I'm going to turn on some constellation lines and the names and the artwork so you can see Leo. So here's Leo. It's nice to have the artwork up, isn't it? But when you guys go out at night, you don't get that kind of help. We have to try to make these shapes and see these shapes with our eyes. So I'm going to show you how to make Leo. So let's turn off the lines. And I want you just to practice and follow my little arrow. You can see these stars right here. This is called a sickle, or the head of Leo. Makes a C shape in the sky. And then this is Regulus. This is probably the brightest star in Leo. And if you follow my little pointer, you can make this rectangle out. So we're going to use our imaginations and think of that as the lion's body here. And there's the lion's tail right there. Now I'm going to turn on the lines again and you can start to see that again. There's the head, and there's the body, and there's the tail again. And here is what it looks like with our artwork on it. So there's Leo. And if you just go out tonight about 9 o'clock, that's when it gets pretty dark. And you can take readings if you like, and look east. So the opposite of where the sun is setting. You'll be able to find Leo. Now there's a lot more constellations in the sky. So what I'm going to do is turn us north. And let's take a look and see what's out. So as we look up from north, our latitude's about 30 degrees here where we are in Central Texas. And so if you look up from north, our North Star's about 30 degrees from the horizon here. And we see Polaris, our North Star. Now our North Star is not the brightest star in the sky. Some people think it's the brightest star, but it's actually not the brightest star. But you should be able to see it in Boerne. I can see it in Austin. Even though we have lots of light pollution here, I can still see it. And if you find the North Star, you could go and trace around the handle. And here's the cup. And it's also known as Ursa Minor, or the little bear. Now another way to find it is to look up here and find the Big Dipper. Now this is right after sunset tonight. So you'll find in the north, you'll see the cup of the Big Dipper and you'll see the handle here. That's also known as Ursa Major, or the Great Bear. I'm going to show you just the brightest stars right now, depending on where you're living near Boerne. I'm going to show you some of the brightest constellations. If you had a really dark sky, then you could see some other ones too, and make out some of them otter shapes. But these constellations I want to show you are they're the shapes that make the most obvious shape in the sky, where you don't have to work too hard to find the shape of the constellation. So from the North Star, we're going to go left here. And you see this kind of E shape or an M on its side. That's Cassiopeia the Queen right here. She's also a way to find the North Star. If you find that star there, you can hop on over to the North Star from where she is. Now from north, we're going to go left a little bit. I don't want to move too fast and make y'all dizzy, but we're going to go past northwest and over to west, because a really well-known popular winter constellation is starting to be on its way out because it's spring and we're headed towards summer. So right as the sun sets in the west, if you look up, I showed you the Pleiades here, but you have Taurus the bull right here. It's a longhorn bull. So there's his longhorns. It's a longhorn bull because we're in Texas, right? And there's a very red star named Aldebaran, and we call that as the eye of the bull. And here's Orion the hunter hunting the bull. So I'm just going to enlarge something here. If you have binoculars and you can make out the Pleiades in the west, I'm going to show you what you might see. The Pleiades is a star cluster probably tens of thousands of stars. And they were all born from the same nebula, the same gas and clouds in the sky. So you can think of them as a family. But these are the seven sisters, or the Pleiades. And as we move left here, you can make out Orion the hunter here. You can see his belt. And here's his arms up here. This is Betelgeuse. This is one of the brightest stars in Orion. It's a red star. It's been in the news lately the past year because it is a variable star. That means it changes its brightness over time. And this is Rigel. And this is a very blue star. This is a fun constellation to find because Rigel looks really blue and Betelgeuse looks really red. And they look great in binoculars as well. And right here is the Orion Nebula. Let's see if we can enlarge it. You can see this in binoculars as well. This is a birthplace of stars. And if you have a telescope, you can see it even better. But if you don't and you have binoculars, you can also see a lot in the sky. So we're just going to travel up here, and we're looking at this on flat screens, but this would be your head looking straight up above your head. That's called the zenith. So straight up where you're really straining your neck. You can see Gemini the twins here. And this is Pollux and Castor. And these are really bright stars. You should be able to see those even in a pretty light polluted city. Maybe hard to see in San Antonio, but a little out of San Antonio, you could see those stars. Okay, I'm going to take us down a little bit. And I forgot to show you Sirius. This is the brightest star in the winter and spring sky, and it is Sirius the dog constellation, or Canis Major. And he's been shown a companion to Orion the hunter. So those are some of the major constellations in the sky. If anybody wanted to see anything that, or you wanted to ask about anything that I'm showing you here, you're welcome to ask any questions right now. I'm going to skim the horizon for any other bright constellations, and also so you can just see what else is up. That was just a taste of what you can see tonight in the sky. But we're going to end up north. So let's end up north here. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead now. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So we're going to go ahead and face east. And I'm going to fast forward time. And you guys can see that we're turning here. And what really is turning is us. We're rotating one time a day, once every 24 hours. So as time goes on, we get closer to midnight, you're going to see a lot of different constellations in the sky. What I showed you is about 9 o'clock tonight. And we're going to start to see some planets. I see Saturn coming up later, and Jupiter, and our moon. Oh, there we go. So now the sun has risen, and I'm going to turn off our lines. Okay. Right, I'm gonna stop sharing that, and if anybody has any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Remind them to unmute, Amy.
Having trouble hearing. Okay. Did someone have a question? I couldn't hear, my sound was down.
Yeah, remind them to unmute.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
I have a question about seeing the Milky Way. So
Yeah.
would you have to go out to like a national park to see that, or would you be able to see it in an urban environment like Bernie?
So there's a couple things to think about. One is what time of year. So the winter Milky Way and the Milky Way that you see at sunset right now, where we are in our orbit around the sun is in the wintertime, we're looking outside of our galaxy, and we live on the edge of the spiral arm, on the Orion arm of our Milky Way galaxy. So in the wintertime, at night, we're looking outside our galaxy on the edge of that arm. And in the summertime, we're looking to the center of our galaxy. So if you really want to see a brilliant Milky Way, you want to go out and find a summer Milky Way. And so what I mean by that is probably late July all the way through mid-September. I'm sorry, late June, maybe early July, late June to mid-September, when you can see Scorpius the Scorpion in Sagittarius after dark. That's when we're looking to the center of our galaxy. And so the Milky Way just looks a lot more brilliant. There's a lot more going on in the center of our galaxy. But when we're looking in the winter time, looking out, there's just less nebulosity and less stars to look through. So that matters if you want to see a really brilliant Milky Way, and also how dark your sky is. That really matters. If you would like, I'll send a link in the chat here. I can show you guys a dark sky quality map. It's a project I work on with the Hill Country Alliance, and you can see what the sky quality is from where you're located in Texas and figure out where you should go if you want to see a brilliant Milky Way. I would pick a dark sky park. I know Enchanted Rock is a dark sky park. South Llano State Park is a dark sky park. And I'm probably missing some. Ed, you got to help me out if I'm missing any. I'm thinking ones that are close to you guys. Oh, Big Bend, of course. It's always a good idea. That's a great question.
Okay, thank you.
Did y'all have any other questions? I didn't talk about my children's book. I kind of forgot about that. I got distracted with the constellations, but I'll put some links in the chat here, and you guys are welcome. I wrote a children's story about the night sky, about some summer constellations in the sky that aren't up yet, but it was written to inspire kids to learn astronomy and want to go outside and stargaze. So I went ahead and put a link in the chat about that. It's called Cassandra in the Night Sky. I like to tell star stories. So that's an inspired star story to get kids to learn astronomy.
Amy, once again, what was the app you were just using on your computer to show us the sky?
Let me send you a link. I'm going to find it and I'll send it to you. It's called Stellarium. I'm going to paste it there and you guys can see it.
Okay.
Stellarium. And there's also, they have a brand new web version. It's really cool. I just stumbled upon it a couple of weeks ago.
It's on the App Store as well. I just downloaded it.
It's really,
Okay.
I like to encourage people though to find a paper chart, because then you really get to learn the constellations without help. You have to really look at the piece of paper and try to figure it out. It's like solving a puzzle. But there's those websites right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm going to show y'all one more thing. It's Sky. I'll just go ahead and put this in the chat. And this is a free Sky monthly sky calendar that you can download. And it's at skymaps.com. Let me go ahead and put this in the chat for you. And it helps you find the constellations. It's right there.
Amy, while you're finding that, I want to remind people that that Jack Estes, who's one of our amateur astronomers in the Kendall County Friends of the Night Sky, writes a monthly astronomy article for the Burning Star. It's always on the last Friday of the month, so watch for that. And he typically talks about what's in the sky over the next month. So he's really for an amateur writer and an amateur astronomer, he's pretty good at both. And I think you'll enjoy his articles. So I want to commend those things to you.
I agree. Those are great. It's a great read for sure. I'm going to send one more link to you guys. I've been teaching astronomy informally for a while now to kids and adults and lifelong learners. And I decided to go on a new endeavor, and I started stargazingclass.com. So my husband and I are making videos and lessons, and they're all experiential hands-on lessons on how to stargaze, how to use a telescope if you're a beginner. They're all beginner lessons. So I just put the website in there. It's going to launch in June. And if you're interested in registering, you can sign up, and then I'll notify you when registration opens for that. But someone had a question. I heard someone talking. I also see one in the chat. Can you read a paper chart with a red flashlight? Yes, you can. You should be able to. You can always get red nail polish too and paint your flashlight red, a couple layers, and that'll make it red.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions for Amy?
Excellent job, Amy and Ed. Thank you so much. And
If you guys are feeling inspired and you want to get on the bandwagon to take sky brightness readings, I just put the link to register for taking readings. Well, right now we have about 20 people signed up, and I keep telling them to tell their friends. And I'm just collecting emails of who's signing up to do the Citizen Science Globe at Night project for the week, because I want to be able to find where our points are on the map and see who did them. And then we can kind of celebrate and say, we did all those points. So I just put that link in the chat, and there's more information at that link if you'd like to sign up to do that.
but I want to thank Amy and Ed. This was excellent.